Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. It's been a little while. Sorry I haven't put out a video in a little while, but yeah, was busy spring bear hunting, and Crawford's been busy with work, and yeah, we're all busy with work and been doing some family trips and camping and all that stuff for the summer. But today it is scouting season. So I kind of wanted to make a video for you guys to on some tips for scouting, where to put trail cameras, some tips while you're scouting, maybe some tips on e-scouting and stuff like that I've learned. So my probably like top 3 or 4 areas that I like to put trail cameras, and some tips like that. So I'm out scouting today. I'm setting trail cameras for elk season, archery elk season. It starts August 30th here in my area, and so just trying to set aside a few areas. That's probably the first good tip, is to make sure you have like 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 good areas that are spread apart quite a ways. Different areas, different units, but to make sure they're spread apart of good ways that you're putting out trail cameras and scouting. That way, if you do decide hunt those areas and you need to switch areas, you do have your backup plans, A, B, C, D, E, whatnot. Something, if hunting pressure kicks in, bulls get kicked out of that area, wolves come in. I'm in North Idaho, so wolves tend to chase elk out of the area and shut them up. So, and in this thick brush country, if they're not talking, you're not finding them. So you gotta switch areas a lot sometimes. So that's a good key while you're scouting, is to definitely spread out your areas and trail cameras. Another quick good one, like I said, I'm in the thick brush country in North Idaho. Scouting here, I like to carry a machete to kind of help clear this trail. This area is not too bad, but it gets pretty thick. So cutting a trail in and out to where you're setting your trail cameras will help you get in and out of there quicker. Also, another tip is run your Onyx or whatever hunting app you use your tracker. That way you know which way you got in and out of there. It's easy to get turned around in there, and yeah. So yeah, like I said, I'll probably be giving you guys some tips throughout the day as I think of them, and then later on, after I probably scout, I'll probably sit down with you guys and have a talk on the top 3 or 4 areas that I like to put trail cameras, and where you should be putting yours. So I'll talk to you guys throughout the day. Probably again when I set out this first camera. All right, thanks for watching, and smash that like button. Help us out by subscribing and all that good stuff. But we'll continue on with this video. Back, still on the way to my first trail camera here, to first trail camera spot I'm setting out. But I was just thinking how hard it is to kind of get through this area I'm getting in right now. And another good tip I thought of is make sure you put your trail cameras in spots that are hard to get to, hard to access. They're not well marked. You're not on off of a main trailhead or something like that. This area, this ridge I'm going down right now, is just in a random spot on the side of the road. It's not really well defined trail or anything, and it's just kind of random. So the more spots you have like that, the less chance of somebody finding your trail camera and messing with it or stealing it. I know that's a big problem we all face these days, unfortunately, but so that's something you got to think about when you're placing trail cameras. So make sure you do that. And also, I have a few screw-in camera mounts or whatever. Those are handy to get up higher where people can't typically see the camera when they're walking by. That helps too, or just hang it higher with the strap or whatever. Some states it's not legal to screw anything in the tree, I think, but yeah, just hang that a lot higher as well, and that'll help as well. But so yeah, another tip there for you while you're thinking about areas to put trail cameras. All right, another good tip I just thought of is where you're scouting, make sure it's a area where the bulls or the elk or cows or wherever are going to be during the hunting season when you're going to be hunting them. There's not that much point in you putting a spot in an area where they winter. If you're finding where they're shedding their antlers or something, and you're putting your trail cameras up there, that's typically not going to be the spot they rut. Sometimes, depending on the species of elk and the area you're hunting them, sometimes they don't move very often, but kind of make sure you're putting an area that you know the elk are going to be in this area. I picked this area because I've hunted this area before, and I'm going down a ridge that I have got on many bugling bulls in the past in September. So that's one reason why I picked this spot to get a trail camera out here, just to make sure before season that I can come back and check this and see if there's many elk in the area that's even worth hunting. That's another good reason to put out trail cameras is if you're not getting elk on camera. I mean, that's not the best reason, I guess, to switch areas, but if you might just have your camera in the wrong spot. But yeah, just basically make sure you're finding a good area where the elk are going to be during the hunting season. It helps to find like fresh sign even this time of year. It's end of July. We got another month or so before our season starts, and they'll typically be in the same areas at this time of year that they're going to be when we're hunting season starts, unless they get chased out of the area or something. So you're typically going to find fresh sign if you are scouting this time of year. So when it's pretty close to the season, you're going to be hunting them. So another good tip for you, just make sure you're not wasting your time and putting your cameras in the right spot. Another good tip for you guys when you're going into your camera, try to follow these elk trails. I got this elk trail that's pretty well used, got some nice footsteps and some elk poo in it. And it's kind of going off through this way through trees and stuff. Trying to, if that's kind of going in the general area you're going, give that a follow. You'll tend to typically run into bedding areas and stuff like that where the elk want to be. Typically it's also one of the easier ways to get around your area is where those elk trails are, because they know best on the easiest ways to get around. So yeah, give those game trails a follow and you'll find some good areas. All right, more good sign of areas where you want to be. There's some old rubs here, right along pretty good, well used trail here. It's hard to see, but you can see lots of tracks in this understory here. It's kind of well-defined path that kind of goes up to the ridge where I am headed. Another good benefit of walking these game trails and elk trails while having your tracker on is you get to map out all the elk trails. So when you are hunting them, you will know their travel routes, their escape routes, especially in thick country like this. good to know. So if you ever need to know how they're escaping or where they're going or how they're moving, where to cut them off, you kind of have that mapped out. So good tip for you there. Trying out these this salt stuff. Put a trail camera out, just scrape down to the ground here. I'm gonna kind of mix it in with the dirt a bit, so it's a little bit harder to get at. Can't just eat it all up at once. There we go. Got ourselves a little salt area there. Gonna put a camera on the tree right there. Alright guys, I think I got my camera spot here, and I'm gonna put my first camera. I'm at the end of this ridge, little flat spot and bench over here. Got some elk beds right over here. I got another trail coming up this way, and another trail coming off the ridge down this way. And right here behind me, another game trail coming up this way. All kind of convening right at my salt area here. I just poured that salt, trying out this cracked out attractants. Bag of that. So see how that works. And I'm gonna put my trail camera on that tree right there. It's gonna be pointing at all the different paths coming out here. Should get the elk coming from any direction. And that's about what you'll see from the tree there. So good little spot here. See if it works. And yeah, hopefully later this season we'll be showing you some good trail camera pictures. All right, there's my trail camera putting out. Pointed at my salt there. When you do put that stuff out, make sure you scrape down to the actual dirt down there. I did pour some little bit of water on it to kind of help activate and the salt into the dirt and stuff, and help the animals kind of smell it too. And I might even go, there's a trail coming down here. I might even see if there's any side trails coming off there and kind of block those with trees and downfall and stuff to kind of help funnel the elk down to this spot. That also helps to get pictures of your elk. Like I said, I have the trail coming off that way, so they should come here, want to come over here and check this out. Should get my picture up here, or they might come up here and walk past that way, and I should get a camera picture there. So good to go. I'm gonna hike on out of here and see if I can go put out a new one in a new area that I haven't been before. So that'll be interesting. See if I can find a good spot there. So yeah, also you're putting cameras out, I just remembered, make sure you're pointing in a direction where your camera's not gonna get flashed by the sun. If I say if I put it on that tree, that sun would probably beam down and kind of block your camera there. So I do have a good canopy to kind of shade the camera here, but there's certain times of day where you put a camera in a bad spot, you're not gonna get good pictures. So make sure you do that too. All right, on to the next one. So here's what I was talking about to help kind of funnel the elk down to where you want them to go. That's my salt and trail camera area down there. This is the main trail that goes down here. And as you're coming down this trail, there was kind of some open spots that elk might kind of look at that and say, I might just go down that way instead. So I kind of block that one. Let's see, I'll probably put a tree right here too. This was another major one right here. I could have put a few sticks in that direction there too. And then a few right here in this spot so they don't come down here and then say, oh, I'll just go down right down there. But yeah, you can't get them all, but I don't know, in my mind I think it would help. So anything to kind of help get some good camera pictures of what's in the area. But I think now I'm gonna get out of here and move on to the next one. Alright guys, found my second spot to put a trail camera in, kind of same general area as my last one, probably a couple miles away. This one is on water though, as opposed to the other one was kind of on a ridge trail and a kind of bedding area. But this is kind of a watering area. I got trails coming down to this little spring on both sides. One going up that way and then one going up this way here. So, and I got my salt down there, just by there. Whoa. It's kind of steep coming down here. Yeah, that's the trail coming up there. Yeah, there's my camera pointed down this way. And it's kind of just off of some timber cuts, kind of way down the creek bed. So got food nearby, got water, two good things that elk need and rely on. So we'll try this for maybe a few weeks and come back and check it a few weeks maybe. And yeah, that's probably all put out today. Probably come at you with the rest of my kind of top favorite spots to put a trail camera and other tips while scouting and stuff. So this is probably definitely one of the top spots is on water and trail crossings. Anytime you can kind of combine any of the top needs of elk, you're gonna find a good spot to put a camera. This is kind of a transition zone, water and feed, so good spot to put a camera. So all right, I'll talk at you guys in a little bit and finish this video off. All right guys, back home now. Got as you saw, I got two trail cameras out, and yeah, just wanted to go over and emphasize about the 4 top areas and that I like to put trail cameras out while scouting for elk. Number 1, top of ridges, preferably where several trails meet up. You saw that at the first trail camera spot I put. I had two trails coming in right there, right where I put the trail cameras and the salt, and another trail kind of coming up here, up the hill. So if you're gonna do top of ridges, just try and pick a spot where several trails meet up, either perpendicularly or kind of all pinched into one, kind of spider into one area, stuff like that. Number 2, trails between water, food, bedding areas, and pinch points like saddles. Elk constantly are traveling from bedding to water to food areas. Up here in North Idaho, in the thick brush, they'll typically kind of bed in the timber, and kind of in the areas where there's like a timber cut nearby, and then they'll have a creek bed down below them.
Sometimes they'll like to travel over a saddle to get to those spots. So look for those areas when you're e-scouting, and yeah, and then try and figure out those areas where they're bedding. I'll go over bedding kind of areas on next few here, but yeah, try and find out where they're traveling. Elk, like I mentioned before, like to pick the easiest route in between all those things. So here in North Idaho, there's going to be some like nasty deadfall. They're obviously not going to try and go through that, so we'll find a trail through that. So while you're scouting, try and find those little trails through the nasty deadfall and that kind of thing. Number 3 is watering holes, places where they water, or where the bulls are wallowing. Wallows will typically just be one little patch of like water, and they'll just be just like a mud hole, look like a mud hole, or you'll want some kind of water in there, obviously, but sometimes they'll just roll around in mud and pee in it, and that's how elk get their scent on them to attract the females, and they'll hit those often during the rut. So you want to look for those. If it is a watering where they're just watering and not wallowing, try and make sure you put your camera on a good spot where you're gonna have you got good sign going to that, you got good game trails going down into that spot. You saw earlier that second trail camera I put out was kind of a watering hole, not necessarily a wallow. It had 2 game trails going down from either side of a canyon down this ravine down to this spring area. So that's why and there was feeding areas nearby, some timber cuts nearby, where other areas around there were just thick timber. So try and do that. And then last one, like I mentioned before, number 4 is bedding areas. Typically you want to find those on benches. So while you're e-scouting on a north-facing slope, look for a north-facing slope, and then find a flat where have your terrain elevation kind of on onX or whatever app you use, and see where that terrain gets flat on a steep slope, on a steep north-facing slope. Typically you'll find bedding on there. They like to bed on the ends of ridges too, like you saw I mentioned in that first trail camera spot I put. There was some bedding nearby. It was just right on the end of a ridge. Bulls will like to do that to kind of hear stuff in the area, or places where the wind kind of comes uphill, right, like to them during the day when they're bedding, stuff like that. So yeah, those are my top 4 favorite places to put cameras. One tip is you want to put cameras on these features where there's at least 2 or more of these 4 things combined. Like that first trail camera spot I had, there's a bedding area at the end of a ridge where several trails kind of met together. So I had a few things working for me there. The second spot was a watering hole where there's feed nearby and bedding nearby, and yeah, those timber cuts nearby there you can get food. And then also there was trails, 2 trails coming down to that one deeper part of the spring. So trying to at least put a camera, yeah, like I said, in 2 or more, I think, of these 4 things, and you'll typically get some good pictures of animals if there's any in the area. So I don't know, take this advice or leave it. I want to emphasize I'm no expert. I just got my first elk with a bow last year. This is my 4th or 5th season hunting elk. I hunted an elk a few years before that. But I've learned a lot in those years and experienced a lot, and I've studied a lot. I've taken the Elk 101 course. I've done Dan Staton's Elk Shape Camp. I've done his Elk Collective course. I've studied the Outdoor Class app. I'm constantly listening to podcasts while I work. I have a desk job, so I'm constantly just listening to podcasts. But yeah, I just learned a lot and taken in a lot, and I wanted to share with you guys. So take it or leave it. Like I said, I'm not an expert, but I have learned a lot through experience on what areas I get pictures and what areas I don't. So just wanted to share that experience and what I've learned with you guys. For those of you just kind of new at this or kind of clueless on where to put cameras, or maybe you're out east and you're coming out west for an elk hunt or something and want to have some time to do some scouting out here. So yeah, hope this helps, guys. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like, and it helps out a ton. Thanks. Check you later.